Alright, I'm back, guys. Sorry about that.
Think we're going to see the pop and drop today?
Yeah, I thought it was going to gap up harder than it did, but it didn't really gap up that hard. The futures were up like, yeah, they're up like 1.5%.
I'm looking for shorts right now.
Oof, Micron's killing me. I was on a Micron short. It's fucking gapped up 3%. I think I'm going to start closing all my positions on Friday. Because it seems like every time I hold them through the weekend, I get killed.
Yeah.
What's going on, Kirby? No, man, we're still doing crypto. My crypto
I just took a
trades.
small SPY short.
My crypto trades have been spot on lately, dude. We're at like almost 100% strike rate on the week. I say almost. We basically are. We're at 100% strike rate for the week. So anybody in the Discord, I really hope you guys have been paying attention to
Basically just looking for anything that's getting rejected by VStop right now.
Hopefully you guys have been paying attention to my my Bitcoin trades. We missed my short by $3 fucking today, man. $3. So we're not in a short on my main account. My high risk account I closed for a profit overnight. It was a really nice trade. My high risk account is on 100% strike rate for the past like 2 weeks. So if you guys are following that account, hope you guys are doing well. We locked in almost 300% profit in the past 2 months on that account. We're currently up about, I think like 10 or 15. I'll take a look. I didn't want to close my long immediately at this level, but it was overnight. So if it's overnight, I put in my targets and just let it ride. But my high risk account trades on a 15-minute strategy, so I wouldn't have closed this because I wait for closes. And why would I have closed this at 5:06 when it pumped up like that? So it was at 3 a.m. though, so obviously I'm gonna close that overnight. Let me screenshot this before I mess with it, so people know I'm not messing around. What is it, 1.57 or 1.75? Go ahead and look for some new levels. We'll do that a little bit here. What's the high here? Yeah, missed me by $3. That really sucks. We're gonna let it run though. Hey James, what's going on, man? My B's and shares are up 18% in 2 weeks. Nice, man. Yeah, looks pretty good. You failed that pivot, pulled back, used that support, pumped up. Looks pretty good. You're above all your supports. As long as you hold that pivot, you're looking good. DPW, let's take a look.
VEEV is a good short setup, but the options, the spread's pretty.
Yeah, DPW almost hit that pivot almost perfectly. This looks like a fucking shit coin though. Busy penny stock. What was that ticker?
VEEV.
Viva.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does look like a good short. kind of gaining momentum though. You got the trail and the auto SR. They've got earnings in like a week, I think.
Yeah, the spread's way too big. It's 60 cents.
If you guys didn't see my schedule on Twitter, let me go ahead and retweet it so people can see it. So we're gonna do a stock market outlook today. I'm gonna look at like the SPY, the Qs, the Dow. We're gonna look at it kind of on the daily, little long term. Look for some levels. Kind of determine where we think the SPY is gonna go, or the overall market's gonna go for the week. We'll be looking at that a little bit later. Right now, we're just gonna do what we normally do. Look for some trades. See what we got going on.
What are you doing with Bitcoin?
I just closed a long for a nice little profit, and I actually was trying to short there. I missed my short by $3. So yeah, it's a rip. My short was at 10.796. The high is 10.793.
I'm in a short at 10.650.
What's sad is this original move here to like 10. What is this? 10.5? Yeah, right here before the pullback. I tried to short this at 10.5, 10.530. The high was 10.520. So this fucking move missed me by $10, and now it looks like this move's gonna miss me by $3. But I've been literally catching every single top and bottom on my high risk account. I've been posting all those in Discord. Been pretty much 100% strike rate for the past week. What do you think about LUV for a call? Let's take a look. Southwest Airlines. Let's take a look. Yeah, I like this downtrend break. You're back above your uptrend as well. You had a massive bull div here. Massive bull div. You do have a cluster of resistance though. How I talk about those clusters when you have all the indicators lining up. You have a cluster of resistance right here around like 51 to 5160. If that breaks, you're clear. There's no resistance really until you get up to like 53. Let's see, we have not really a lot of sell pressure. You do have some sell pressure coming in here currently. You also have this local high right here that's being tested. You got a high back here as well. Then you have this doji here. Yeah, so really, if you break above this like 50, 51, you're pretty clean until like 51.40. And then you don't have a ton of resistance. You got a doji right here as well. I can zoom in, get these pretty close. These are your main levels that I see. Sell pressure here, you got a gap down. You do have a nice doji support right here as well. Not a whole lot of support in between these two levels, so you could fall back down to like 50.29. If you do break out a 51 though, you look pretty good. You got a short-term resistance there, but then most of your resistance is going to be up here in the 52 range. So I'd say wait for confirmation, probably wait for a break at this like 51.50 range. You could take it a little preemptively here, but you're not even green on the OTS, so it would definitely be a little early. Yeah, once I close this Micron trade, I'm gonna try to set up another option strategy. I don't really like the one that I'm currently doing. I think I'm more of a short-term trader, and I'm like kind of mixing like short-term trades with like long-term trades, and I'm kind of picking my options a little weird.
The SPY, the Qs look so good for a short too.
I think I'm gonna
Really good.
I think I'm gonna start doing more like weekly plays, like little short-term plays. What are you looking at, like long-term? Like daily? Yeah, the daily's
Yeah,
failing the trail pretty much perfectly.
failing the trail, failing 50 moving average, failing the down.
I really want to see the SPY get down to like 277, 275. It could be a great time to pick up puts here on the SPY for 275, to be honest.
Yeah, I just picked up some puts on SPY, Qs, and some VIX calls. The only thing I'm long on right now is Starbucks, just because it's still uptrending.
Starbucks still going, yeah.
My SPY and Qs are not that far out. My Starbucks, I got like 30 something days, 32 days on Starbucks. So
What's the difference between the auto SR levels it prints and the pivots? They're completely different formulas. Completely different formulas. They're based on different price action mechanics. The auto SR is more kind of traditional support and resistance. The pivots are based on a more I can't really say without giving away too much. It's based on more of a kind of it's not conventional is what I would say. It's just a little different. For the pivots to form, let's put it this way. For the pivots to form, a very certain thing has to happen. For the auto SR resistance and support to form, that is more of a conventional top and bottom. It still has a lot of smoothing to go with it, especially on the slower settings. But it's more of a conventional top and bottom. The pivot has a very certain formula. Yeah, they're not supposed to line up. They're not supposed to line up. They're not based on the same thing. That's why these are called pivots and they're not support and resistance, because these are a different kind of mechanic. These are more of like pivot zones. I wouldn't say one is better than the other. They're just different trading mechanics. So like, for example, you can see SR flips here. on the pivots. So like the pivot has an SR flip here, pretty much to the dollar. But then you can also look at the, let me pull up the auto SR as well. So like you can also look at like an SR flip. Let's see if we can find one that's... Yeah, so like these, like you have these flipping here. You have broken them and then you pulled back to test them and then you popped up. So like this one, you broke it, pulled back, kind of tested it, popped up. So you can have the SR flips on both. So like here, support formed, you kind of swung through it, and then you pulled back and tested it perfectly, and then you popped up. So you can see it on both. Same thing here. You came down and tested that support, popped up. You can see how the auto SR lines, they are very, very good at finding like the exact tops and bottoms. And these aren't hindsight. If you watch them form, they form on that candle. The pivots kind of, the pivots line up with tops and bottoms a lot too, but they're more of like in the zones. You see what I mean? They're more of kind of like in the distribution zone, in the accumulation zone. They're not always going to line up with the top and the bottom. Funny thing is, if you go to the weekly, both of the indicators lined up on the exact candle. So there's the pivots, and then here is the auto SR. So both of our indicators called the top and the bottom, which is really good. But yeah, so if you're looking for more of like a conventional top and bottom support and resistance style, the auto SR are going to give that to you. But if you're looking more for like zones of pivotal points, the OTS pivots are going to give that to you. Hey Moon, what's going on? What is the trading? Was the trading suite free? Yeah, it was. It was never in trial. It was never tested for public use. The trading suite Lite is free for Discord members. So the one that colors the candles, that one's free for Discord members. So like just using the bar colors. These arrows are, it's a bug right now. We actually fixed this, but for some reason when I uploaded it was still bugged. So I need to fix this again. But yeah, the trading suite Lite is just the candle colors, which is still very, very strong. You can see it colors your candles based on trend. So it's going to color them it's going to color them green for an uptrend, red for a downtrend. I have them white and black. So that's the free version. And then the paid version has the pivots and the trail and the buy and sell arrows. Can you check out PCG? Let's take a look. Massive gap down here. Looks like it's coming into a support. You did have a doji here that you completely destroyed. Once this pivot was lost, you can see that massive failure. So this is basically what you're going to look for on the pivots. You had a few little traps here, but once it was basically lost completely, you had that massive failure. Yeah, so I wouldn't trade this just yet. I'd probably wait for confirmation. Either wait for a support test or wait for a bounce here. Bitcoin played our ascending triangle perfectly. We caught most of this move. I really wanted to hold on to my long for a much longer move here, but it was overnight, so I just put in my profit target and let it go. My profit target was based on this little level here. So we took profit there. Obviously, we could have waited for the flag, but this is at 3 a.m., so I was sleeping. So it didn't matter. There's no way I would have closed this at my profit target if I was awake, because this doesn't even give you any sell pressure. So I wait for sell pressure or buy pressure to close my trades, typically. And there is no sell pressure here. You would have just held this until you saw sell pressure. And not even on a 1 minute. So you can see, even on a 1 minute, you wouldn't have closed this. If you were watching a 1 minute, you probably would have closed around here, this pullback. A 5 minute, let's see. You wouldn't even have closed a 5 minute. You probably wouldn't even have closed here on the 5 minute. You probably would have closed back here when it dumped. Because you have a nice little uptrend here. You broke your uptrend, but then you started to distribute. And then once you kind of broke out and failed there, you probably would have closed. So we're currently flat on both accounts. I had a short. It's still in at 96. We missed it by $3. Missed it by $3. So I tried to short here. It would have been a perfect fill. I really hope it pops up and fills me. If it doesn't pop up and fill me, I might just go ahead and enter it here. This was actually my original entry, 730. My original entry was 730, but I thought it was going to impulse a little higher, which I was right. It did. And I moved my order to 96. So we damn near caught it to the dollar. We're just a little off. It looks like it wants to pop up and test this doji here. So honestly, we could move it again. I really hate constantly moving my short. If I keep moving my short, I might as well just get in a long, you know what I mean? But we can see here, it's still kind of pushing towards that doji. I'll show you guys my trade that we set up. So I took a long here, and I closed here. Here, I'll go over all my weekend trades. Since it was during the week, during the weekend, I wasn't streaming. They were all posted in Discord, so hopefully you guys who are part of the Discord were able to catch them. We have a 100% strike rate this week, so we're looking really good. Let me go to the beginning here. Hold on. So there's the first one. Let's see. Oops, that's the wrong one. Hold on. Oh, I think there's one more. Alright, so let's go over all these trades. Let me make sure I got them all. This is the one today. Here, let's just do these in order. So this is the last one. Alright, so this should be the first one, this should be the second one, this should be the third one, and this should be the last one. Okay. Alright, so what I was seeing for these trades, if you guys were following them in Discord and kind of wondering what the hell I was looking at. So I have a very kind of discretionary trading system for my high risk account. There's not like a set buy here, sell here type strategy. It's more of a discretionary. I read price action, I read volume, I read what's going on with the indicators for confirmation. So if I want to get in a long or a short, I always look at the OTS and the Momo and the Auto SR to kind of confirm what side I should be trading. And then I kind of look for discretionary trades in that side. So here I determined that we want to be in a short. So I was looking for the sell pressure here, and then I was looking for where the supports were that I wanted to target. So we had the sell pressure popped up. We basically caught it to the dollar here. This was overnight. So what I actually did, which I never do, I put in my stop loss at break even so I could go to bed, right? It popped up and stopped me out to the penny. To the fucking penny. So when I woke up, I re-shorted. So I missed out on like 1.6% profit because I got stopped out. I don't put in stops on this account. This account is a completely different strategy. And I've posted the strategy in Discord. I'm not going to go over it here on stream. But if you look in Discord, I posted the strategy. I don't use stops here. So it's a very high risk strategy. But for some reason I thought I should put in a stop so I could go to bed. And it popped up and stopped me out to the fucking dollar. To the dollar. So I woke up, I re-shorted, we hit our target beautifully. Perfect hit. It actually started to bounce right here on this target almost perfectly. But then it dipped lower. So there's the target. Popped up and then it dipped lower. Once it started to find support on this buy pressure, I looked at the indicators. The Momo was bullish. I think the Auto SR was bullish as well. So I was like, okay, I'm going to take a long here. I took a long as soon as it started to show buy pressure on this little zone. And then we came down, and I said in Discord, typically on piercing bottoms, you have a flagging consolidation. So I told you guys in Discord, if it started to flag here, I was not worried. That was part of the plan. Okay, so then it started to flag here perfectly. It popped up. It hit our resistance here. Came back down right to where our entry was. We could have actually added on here if we wanted to. Came right down to our entry. And then popped up again and then soared right to our target. Nice 3.5% trade there. Alright, next one. We had sell pressure up here. And then we had our two little supports. I waited for it to pop up and test this sell pressure. I actually did not enter this trade. This trade didn't give me a very good entry opportunity. But this was still posted in Discord. It popped up and it failed immediately, almost to the dollar. So we would have caught this trade. I think we missed it by $1, maybe $2. If I would have put my order in as a limit. I typically don't limit these unless I feel like it's going to be a very strong sell pressure. I didn't think this one was going to be too strong, so I didn't put my limit in. And it didn't really give a good opportunity to get in. I typically wait for a full candle inside the sell pressure or buy pressure. We only saw a tiny little dollar test, and then it failed down to our target. Basically, we missed $1 here, missed $1 here. So that was another good trade. And then the most recent trade, we had our buy pressure here, right above this doji. I said in Discord that I wanted to take a long if this doji was regained. And we popped up and regained this doji. We had a 5 million sell wall right here, but I thought it was going to be broken pretty easily. I thought it was just suppressing price, and that's exactly what it was doing. It was just suppressing price so it could get in, so more buys could fill. So once that wall was destroyed, we shot up to our target almost immediately. So we popped up to the sell pressure, pulled back a little bit as predicted, and then we popped up and destroyed our target. Like I said, if I wasn't sleeping, I wouldn't have sold here. I would have actually held on because, like I said earlier, I wait for a full candle typically to act as sell pressure or buy pressure to close or open. But because I was sleeping, I thought, should put my target in. So I put my target in, and we got a nice little almost 2% trade. Yeah, those are all my trades for the week. Currently at 100% strike rate, looking really good. If you guys have any questions about any of those trades, feel free to just let me know in Discord or send me a message. I'll help you guys out. All of my trades are posted live using BitMEX API, so as soon as I enter or exit, you guys can see. If you're part of the Discord, it just sends messages. There we go. That's what we want to see on Micron. We're seeing a sell-off here. Very, very beautiful sell-off. That's what we wanted to see. We saw some nice sell pressure here. Was not able to be broken. You saw an even lower sell pressure come in there. You have an even lower sell pressure come in here. So looking really good. If you guys are wondering what I use for my sell pressure and buy pressure, I used to call these pivots. I'm trying to lean away from pivots because there's just so many things that are named pivots. I feel like it gets distracting. But if you guys watch my YouTube video on pivots, that's exactly what I'm using for this sell pressure and buy pressure. I'm just calling it a different thing now because the pivots just seem like they're overused. You have a falling wedge here, almost a perfect falling wedge. So you could break out to the upside. You might even be able to use the wicks here. We're going to start our market outlook here in a little bit. What time is it? We'll probably do it around 11. When it gets to 11, I'm going to do a market outlook. It's going to be kind of a more video-esque style. We're going to go over my thoughts on the SPY, the Qs, the Dow. Look at some levels. Look at some buy and sell pressure that we might hit this week. And then we'll get that highlighted and posted on YouTube as well. Actually, I wonder if I can do that. Because I'm currently already streaming. And I wanted to make like these little clips inside the stream. I know on Twitch you can just highlight them. I don't know on YouTube how that will work. Because it's all going to be one VOD. We'll see if we can figure it out. SPY is selling off here. Kind of have a broadening wedge to the downside here. Might have to bite the bullet and pull the trigger on Bitcoin. It really sucks that we missed our short by $3, but I don't want to let this thing miss me again. We will see, we will see. This is forming a pretty bullish pattern. This is like a micro pullback pattern. So we could definitely see like 860. That's only about 0.6% away from my entry, so I think I'm going to leave my entry where it is. And then if we start to see a lot of buy pressure above this doji, I'll probably just go ahead and close it. The daily's looking really bullish. You're breaking out, engulfing these candles here. But you have very little volume. Very little volume yesterday, very little volume today. But you still have about... what is that, about 10 hours left? You got about 10 hours left until the daily close. So we could see a lot more volume come in. You had nice buy pressure come in here. You were not able to break through that. So that is your daily support moving forward. You also had a perfect doji test here. So you had your doji, popped down, tested it, and now we're moving up. You have an untested doji up here around 12,000. So you could see that 12k doji be hit. Looks like the SPY came up and filled this gap. Or didn't really fill the gap because you gapped into the gap. But you did tap that doji, and you are failing. So anything below 292 is going to be pretty bearish. What's going on, Sticky? Micron, like we said, starting to break out to the upside. We will take a look, see if it fails this close resistance. Indicators are turning bullish on the 4 hour. You got bullish Momo, bullish OTS. You're above the trail, above the 72. You're above everything here, so you're basically 5 out of 5 bullish on the 4 hour. You do have a doji forming though, so you do have a little bit of weakness. You are hitting that 1 hour pivot. You also have another pivot up here, forming a nice little shooting star doji. We'll see how it reacts here on the 4 hour. I like what I see here. You're failing that nearest sell pressure. You want to see some high sell volume come in here. You guys have any questions? You want me to take a look at anything? Just let me know. You're not seeing any sell volume, so you are breaking through this pressure. The SPY's moving up a little bit here is probably what's leading Micron up. The Q's is approaching its downtrend. Snapchat. Excuse me, still holding that support. If the market was looking good here, I'd probably buy Snapchat, but because the market's not looking too good, I know it's gapping up right now, but I feel like we're still not out of that downtrend. You're still below this pivot. You don't have a lot of momentum coming in here. Not a whole lot of buy volume either. If the market was looking better, I'd probably definitely long Snapchat. But not looking too good right now. You do have like a slight bull div coming in here. You got a flat bottom, but you're gaining momentum. But it's not confirmed. You also don't have a green candle. Twitter's failing this pivot. Twitter actually looks like a decent short, to be honest. You're not getting really any buy volume right here. You couldn't break that weekly level. Doesn't look like too bad of a short. You could play the 39s, September 20th. Be about a 5%. Let's see how much they are. They are 86 cents. Not too bad. Their delta's 28 though. What is that, a $2 move? How much are the 40s? The 40s are $1.16. When's the 23rd? Friday? The $40 puts on August 23rd are only 23 cents. It'd be more of like a lotto play though. It basically needs to completely fail here. You would need to go down about 3% by Friday. That's actually not too bad. You're failing that pivot there. Problem is the theta. You've got a 6-cent theta, so you're gonna be getting destroyed on theta just by holding it. Micron's starting to push a little higher here. What's Bitcoin doing? Still consolidating. Alright, let's see how it reacts to this 45 sell pressure. You're losing buy volume here. Decent sell volume coming in. What's the SPY doing? SPY broke its little channel here. Don't really have a lot of sell pressure. You do have a little bit of a doji here. Decent volume coming in here on the 1 minute.
man. Woke up with a fever today.
That sucks.
It's the worst.
Dude, I used to get like cold sweat fevers and just fucking. You feel like you're cold, but you're sweating your ass off, and you can't like put blankets on or anything. It's so bad, dude. Nice little breakout on Bitcoin overnight. Too bad I had to set my profit target while I was sleeping. We were talking about that last night too, about the ascending triangle breaking out while we were fucking sleeping.
Must be China buying. One second, I want to get some Neocitrin.
So as we predicted, we broke out of this falling wedge. Gave a nice little 1.5% breakout too. Now let's take a look at this uptrend here. Nice little 45-degree angle uptrend. SPY is also looking good. Bitcoin's going to distribute here. Really irritated that I missed my short by $3. Especially when this was a moved short that it missed by $10 the first time. Came down and tested the trend, still holding this sell pressure. Alright, here we go. Let the fun begin. The trend is broken. Starbucks looking good. Nice little recovery here. The SPY is actually pushing higher here. Surprised Micron is pulling back. Oh, here we go. Now SPY is starting to pull back. You still holding the options? Micron trying to SR flip this buy pressure. If it gets back above the trend here, it's going to look pretty strong.
I took 2 ibuprofens.
You still holding any options?
My Neo.
Oh yeah, Neo, yeah.
Break even still. It's gonna start going down though, closer towards expiry.
Yeah, it looks decent. Putting in a higher low. Not a lot of volume though. Looks like it's trying to break this downtrend though.
Yeah, it's getting tight down there. Could go either way.
Let's say the daily closes like an engulfing here with decent volume. You're probably going to see continuation through Friday. I'd already be up almost 1% if I got filled. Irritating.
On what, Bitcoin?
Yeah. Missed my short by $3 fucking. If I wasn't doing really well on my high risk account, I'd be pretty pissed because my main account has been missing trades by fucking like $5, $10, $3. I just need to start front running everything, I guess.
Yeah.
I actually am front running, like my levels is not enough, I guess. Let me see, I think I based this off of Doji. Yeah, I based this off of Doji. I'm front running it by like $60. Still not enough. SPY's pulling back to trend here. Micron's breaking trend. Fucking, I keep seeing people talking about discounts like on altcoins. They're calling the fucking massive 90% failures discounts. Yeah, okay. It's only considered a discount if the thing that you're buying is actually worth its full value, you know what I mean? If a phone's full value, its fair market value is $600, and it's on sale for $300, then yeah, you're getting a 50% discount because that phone is actually worth $600. These altcoins are not worth jack shit. So they're not, this is not a 95% discount. People are fucking idiots, dude. I haven't been touching alts for months. People have been trying to trade alts for fucking 3-4 months getting killed. It's like if you're not dollar cost averaging, or if you're not looking like long term, if you're trying to scalp these things the past 3 months trying to find bottoms, you're just throwing away money. You might as well just send your money to me. Fucking, I'll burn it with a lighter.
The only way to do it is dollar cost average.
Yeah.
And then hope you make it out of expiry. Unless you're just buying shitcoins for the fun of it.
Yeah. The double bottom on Ethereum looks good. So you could dollar cost average into this, no problem. Like ADA, you're starting uptrend here. BCH, like they're all starting uptrend. You see your pivots Your OTS is starting to turn green, but you're still bleeding. Like Litecoin's still bleeding. Tron looks like it's going for new lows. Ripple looks like it's going for new lows.
They could easily get new lows if ETH and XBT break out to the Bach news.
If Tron wasn't such a bar chart, I'd actually trade it, but fucking... You can't even... Like a barcode chart, you can't even find levels on this fucking thing on low time frames. And Ripple doesn't have enough liquidity on low time frames to get good levels. Why don't scalp these things? They're fucking short-term charts are ugly.
The top performers on Binance right now, 25%, 25%, 16%, they all have less than 200 BTC volume.
Yeah, the volume's dead.
Good luck getting filled unless you're like...
I need to pull
doing
my...
100 bucks.
I need to pull my money off Binance. I still have a little bit left. I think the final date's coming up.
It's so funny that they let Canada start margin trading after initially banning.
They banned the US and they let the Canadians margin trade. It's hilarious. They're only doing that to try to bring more people in, you know what I mean? Because they realize how fucked they are when they ban the US.
They don't have any volume.
That was literally a nail in the coffin, dude. Why would you do that at like the peak of the altcoin bear market? You just committed suicide. Like, I can understand if they're just getting massive amounts of volume, they're making a shit ton of money and fees and everything. And they're like, you know what? Let's just get the SEC off our back, let's ban the US citizens. But it's the fucking peak of the bear market for altcoins. They're all bleeding. There's like no volume, no liquidity, nobody's trading. And then you're gonna go ahead and ban the US citizens who are most of your volume. Those are the kind of decisions that you make when you just have too much money, you know what I mean? Like, they've got a lot of money, they don't give a fuck.
CZ started not to give a fuck. He's tweeting like Elon Musk.
Yep. It's like Fortnite, dude. They make so much fucking money, they don't give a shit anymore. They just make bad decisions. But every company does. They start making a shit ton of money, they get reckless. They think they're too big to fail. But if they're Americans, they should realize pretty much nobody's too big to fail. Unless they're controlled by the government, they're not too big to fail.
Be right back. I have to go get some medicine.
Still not breaking its uptrend on the SPY. Once it does, Micron should start to impulse down. Micron's slowly moving down here while the SPY is still kind of distributing. So if the SPY breaks its uptrend, we should definitely see an impulse here. Nice little falling wedge break on the Qs as well as the SPY. Same thing on the Dow. Overall, market's still up about 1.1%. Not doing too bad. We're currently down about 10% on our Micron position. I am currently holding 44 and 43 puts. Playing a spread. It was looking really good going into the close on Friday, and then we just had a massive gap up because the market had a really good Monday. So, I think, like I said at the beginning of the stream, I might just start closing all my positions on Fridays. Because there's literally nothing I can do when stuff like this happens. You have a nice little sell-off into the close, and then boom. We went from being up to being down 10 to 15%, so... I think I'm just going to start closing on Fridays. Taking whatever loss or whatever profits I have. And then if it looks good on Monday, I can probably reopen it. Still learning the best ins and outs of options. Very new to the market. Still haven't found a strategy that I really like that's consistent. Probably going to take me a few months to get a very consistent strategy on options. Alright, we're coming into 11 here. Once it hits 11, we'll start doing a market outlook here, looking at long-term SPY, long-term Qs. See if we can find some levels, some buy pressure, sell pressure. See if we can figure out what it's going to do by the end of the week. Set up a little game plan here. See if we want to be shorting during this week or longing. Bitcoin just pumped up again, still not filling me. Bitcoin manipulation reaches new highs as turning point nears. The hell is this? Bitcoin has broken above the bearish pennant in an unprecedented turn of events. This move was quite surprising considering there was a confluence of resistance zones and also because bearish pennants are usually broken. You just used the word usually, bud. What does that mean? That means that sometimes they break to the upside. What a shit fucking article. Calling for massive manipulation because you missed a fucking price action move. Bitcoin's manipulated, don't get me wrong, but if you don't have like an actual reason to say it's manipulated, and you're just saying because a bearish pennant broke out to the upside, pretty fucking stupid. You know what this article reads like? It reads like a whiny little bitch. Like you lost a trade, and you just write an article on how manipulated Bitcoin is. You'll usually never hear me defend Bitcoin from being manipulated, because it definitely is manipulated. But that was pretty sad article. Micron's starting to push up here, so is SPY. You have a lot of sell pressure right here on the 4 hour. Around 294 to 293. Looks like Micron's going to continue higher here with the market. Market is destroying our Micron trade. What is our expiry? Our expiry is September 20th. Right before earnings. This sell pressure is kind of used up here. This buy pressure is also SR flipped. Have not tested this sell pressure here. Alright, it's 11:05. Let's take a look. Let's start our little market outlook here. We're going to do something a little differently here. I'm going to go over some long-term charts, probably like daily, weekly levels on the SPY and the Qs. We're going to look for some buy pressure, sell pressure, some important dojis and stuff like that that we're going to look for to help us out during the week. Let me go ahead and we're going to use a new chart. Go to a third chart here. Remove everything. And you guys can kind of see my thought process behind how I find these levels and what I look for on a chart when I'm looking for price action patterns. So basically the first thing that I want to look for is near-term buy pressure or near-term sell pressure. So since we're seeing an impulse down here, I would most likely be looking for buy pressure if we're bouncing. So we have our pullback here on this impulse up, right? So I'm going to look for some buy pressure. And I find some right here where you see these three little wicks on the daily. So you can see that price tried to go below 284, not once, not twice, but 3 times. And each time we were bought back up. So that shows you that the overall market wants to push back above 284. So what I typically do is I just grab a rectangle tool and you can mark that as your buy pressure. This is going to be your basically your buyer's support moving forward. So if we do pull down to that range, you probably will see a bounce, maybe locally or a long-term bounce. We've already tested it 3 times, so it probably won't be too heavy of a bounce if we do make our way back there. It could be more of a short zone, so you might see like a failure downward and then a breakthrough and then use it as a kind of an SR flip. So that's something you definitely want to look for if you're looking to short the overall market. You want to see this kind of 284 to 282 range be flipped as resistance. So let's see, I don't have any really strong sell pressure here. You do have a little bit on this top wick here that caused that push downward. So you could grab that as your sell pressure. It's not going to be too strong though. I typically look for at least 2 wicks. You want to see kind of 2 attempts in those zones. But you can start it out with 1 and see how it reacts when it comes to test it the second time. But yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and grab that. That's going to be your sell pressure moving forward. So if you want to look for major longs, you want to see that sell pressure be SR flipped to the long side. So you're going to want to look for kind of something like this, where you use it as support, or you could even kind of like break through it and then come down and kind of consolidate for a little bit and then try to push higher. That's going to be your sell pressure moving forward. The next thing you want to look for is your important levels, your dojis. So typically I look for dojis that are resting at highs or lows before impulses. So you have like an impulse up here that created a new high, so you have that high there. So you have this impulse from this low that created a new high. We broke into a swing high above that previous high. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this support that created that move up. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the doji here. And what I typically do is, if it's an impulse up, I grab the high, or sorry, whichever one is higher, the open or the close of the candle. So this would be the open. So I'm going to grab the open of that candle. So for an impulse down, I'm going to grab the low of the candle. So I take the doji, because this created a new low. You had a swing low here, and then you popped into a new low. So I'm going to take the low of that doji, or sorry, the low of the open and the close, which is going to be the close on this one. So that's going to be your important level for your high side. So now that we have like our support on the low side, we have our resistance on the high side. I can get rid of this level because I was just using that as an example. We also have our sell pressure and we have our buy pressure. Okay. So now that we have our kind of our triggers and our targets, basically what we would look for here is either a break. You could either take the break or you could wait for an SR flip. So SR flip or just a clean break. Same thing here. Clean break, or you could wait for the SR flip. But that's kind of your 2 scenarios. Everything in between is kind of just a range. And as long as it's ranging, if it doesn't break through and it starts to use this as resistance, you can sell this. And if it starts to use this as support, you could buy this. And then you just target the range. Those are your 3 scenarios. You have your break, the upside, your break to the low side, you have your range, or you could see your just clean breaks to those levels. But those are all the trading scenarios that I would look for if you are trading the SPY longer term. So basically anything in between here, any consolidation you're not really worried about, you really want to pay attention to these zones. You want to pay attention to the breaks or the retest. So I'm going to go ahead and put some alerts in here. I'm going to put them to the high side and to the low side of these. And we'll keep an eye on those levels. Let's take a look at the Qs. So Qs are probably going to be very similar. They typically follow the same market structure. I'm going to do this a little faster now that you guys know what I'm doing. I'm going to grab the high there. I'm going to grab the low here. We're going to look for our buy pressure, which you do have a little bit of buy pressure right here. You also have a little bit of sell pressure right here. You can even extend that to the low of this candle here because you have two little wicks there, and then you have that high wick there. You can extend that. Trying to match these up as best as I can. So same thing here. You're looking at pretty much a range in between these two levels. You could look for an SR flip of this level, or an SR flip of this level. Or you could also look for just the clean breakouts, or the breakdown to your resistance or your support. And as I said earlier about the SPY, if you are consolidating or testing these ranges, you could buy the dips, or you could sell the highs, and then just target the buy or sell pressure on the other side. This is exactly what I've been doing on Bitcoin on my high risk account. This is a strategy that I've used for a long time. We are currently up close to 300% on our BitMEX account. Past week we're up, I think, a little bit over 20. The past 2 months we are doing almost 300. So this strategy is very, very simple and very strong. Just requires a little bit of patience and a little bit of technical analysis, obviously. You could go farther out if you wanted to do this on like a weekly. So I could go ahead and do this on a weekly as well. To show you guys what we're looking at. You just grab that level there as your support, which is the high of the last candle. And then here you would take the low of the last candle. The low as in the open and close, not the wicks. You have a little bit of buy pressure here. You don't really have any sell pressure. I don't see any sell pressure. And you're already about to hit your resistance. So you definitely want to see how the Qs reacts to around 192. Because 192 is going to be a pretty strong resistance moving forward. You also have that high there around 195. So you don't really have you don't have a long trigger just yet. I wouldn't take it here. You don't really have any confirmation. So I would wait for probably either a retest of the Qs here, then a pop up. That would be your target. Or you could wait for a break of this pressure SR flip, and then you could target that lower level. Or you could even target this kind of buy pressure right there. So basically this would be your trigger. You could even look to long it on a pullback, or you could look to short it on a break. But right here, I wouldn't take a trade here. Just a little bit of chop. If you're trading on the weekly time frame, obviously, I would wait for a break of this, or a break of this, or a retest of this. Those would be your long triggers. I would not take a long in this zone here. You don't really have an edge if you take a long here. You don't really have a overall direction. And obviously, if you're trading with my indicators, you always want to look for confluence with the Momo, the OTS, the Auto SR. You want to make sure that they're bullish if you're looking for longs, or they're bearish if you're looking for shorts. You don't want to take the trades too preemptively. We could also go to the weekly here on the SPY as well. Show you guys what we're looking at here on the weekly. You have a little bit of buy pressure down here on the low. You also have your level right there. You could take this little bit of buy pressure here as well. This actually is a nice buy pressure because you do have a lower wick here as well. You have a massive buy pressure coming in on the local weeklies on the SPY. And that would be your target. So once again, I wouldn't really look for a trade in between these two. You don't really have an edge there. You could take a long here and target this level. It would be a short-term long, obviously. But you don't really have a good stop loss because your stop loss would want to be below that buy pressure. So if you took it here, your R to R is actually negative. No, or not negative, but it's less than 1, so it's not very good. So once again, you would want to wait for either an SR flip, or you want to wait for a break in an SR flip. You don't really have an edge if you're trading before the SR flips or the breaks. You want to wait for a clear edge on price action. You want to be as patient as possible. You can do this on the shorter time frames. Obviously, I do this on a 15-minute when I trade Bitcoin. And we currently have a 100% strike rate on the week. So, very accurate. You just have to be very patient. So that is our overall outlook on the markets. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in chat. Or put them in the comments if you're on YouTube. And I will definitely go over them. But on that note, guys, I am going to call it a little short stream here. We might be doing an afternoon stream today. We don't have one in the books. But if I'm not too busy later, I might start it up again. Doing the 2 streams a day is a little mentally exhausting. So I'm trying to limit it to 1 stream a day during this week. But if I'm not too busy, I'll let you guys know on Twitter and Discord if I'm going to go live during the afternoon session. But I appreciate you guys stopping by. If you guys have any questions or anything, let me know in Discord, let me know on Twitter or YouTube, whatever. And I will see you guys tomorrow during the morning stream, 9:30 a.m. Eastern. Appreciate you guys being here. You guys have a good one. See you later.